Hello everybody, Corey here. We're going to do the weekly roundup for ULTY. Just a reminder, I'm not a licensed investment or financial advisor, and all I'm doing is gathering information and presenting it to you. As a reminder, YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky, especially ULTY, but you can see below all the different risks that they do go into detail and explain on their website. I have several things here. Let's see what we can go through that's easy. I know we have something new that was asked for last week, and some of you don't want to go too in depth on things. So let's just look here. And I apologize for the red cells or the outstanding shares are, but the holdings aren't wanting to pull in. So basically, I overwrote my formulas, and then I just marked them red to remind me I overwrote them so I can fix them later. But we can see here the last declaration date was April 16th, and the next declaration date, well, this is day before. I'd have to look at the thing, but this says 5/13. So we have a couple of weeks here. It shows that we have already completed 10 days, and it looks like for this pay period we have 20 days. Therefore, we are 50% or halfway through. We opened at 1650, or we didn't open. So I did have open here before. However, then there was a gap between the previous close and this open, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to overlap or whatever for our difference column, so I just make it equal to the last close price. And then the close price is basically the current price, which would have been a close on Friday in this case. And so you can tell it has dropped $1.32 in the 10 days here. Outstanding shares are, as you can see, almost 4.4 million. That's sort of where it's staying right now. If you wanted an estimate, the only thing I can do really is just use the percentage yield from the last estimate, which was 103%. And if we do that based on the stock price being $15.18, then we're looking at $1.31. But things will change, and again, that's only based on that percentage. But we don't know how they'll do that. If you want to see the data here, I know this is also on the daily summary, but you can see overall short call trades, they've netted 63 cents a share. If we just want to know how much premium that was brought in a share, that's $1.77. And then if we just look at, and then column L, it says all trades at the top, but the synthetic, so here we've lost 17 cents. And I'm sorry, I was looking at the summary line, so scratch all of that. Our short call nets are 0, so if I highlight this line, and even scroll up, so I apologize there. The short call trades equals 0. The premium they received, though, for the trades was 52 cents. The synthetic trades, they've lost 17 cents, and they lost $2 on having to purchase stock. And then, but the total is 33 cents. We don't have the NAV there because, again, the holdings aren't wanting to pull from the website, and I didn't think about that, so I didn't copy over the NAV at net asset, just to let you know. Overall, these are the dollar amounts if you want to see the dollar amounts here. The other was just per share, and of course we don't have a distribution yet. And then I try to make notes over here of issues that we've had. And so in this one, the only thing I can think of is we've had the issue this past week with Root and I. Therefore, I had to, do some adjustments and change some shares and change some prices, or add some sales based on the market value because trades are missing and stuff. So I just like to make those notes there. I've mentioned this in another video before, but this stock right here, this is not right. And I started, I think last week, started working on rebuilding that and it was in an external workbook. And then, yeah, I did end up copying it in here after that. But basically, when they swapped out and did all of those trades to sell the stock and buy the synthetic and do all that, when I match them up, I see there was a lot that weren't even on the trades thing. So I'm going to have to, again, do the same thing I did with this, which will be going back and trying to get an estimate of what they could have paid, um, you know. Or it's actually, yeah, looking here, some of might not have been just some of the shares, but not all of the shares. As we can see here, MSOS had 180,000 shares, but then it showed them only selling 57,000 of them, 700. So I'm going to go back and adjust these to try to make at least them have, showing all the closeouts and everything else. Again, it might not be the right exact amounts because I'll have to do it off the market value, or those stocks. I can look at the stock price for that day and I can only go off the close, which may or may not be close to what they did, right? But then maybe it's going to make this number look better than it does, though, that 8 million. So that's why that is red. And I know we've talked about it. I just haven't gotten there. It's just hard to get to everything. So that's just to go over that real quick. And then we have here, and it was asked, we only do this for this pay period. So that's what I've done. And some of those IVs for some reason aren't loading. But what this is, these are all the tickers that have been traded within this pay period. Their IV, when they were added, when they ended, and if they're currently open or closed. But they all say closed for some reason. Oh, they all say closed because the holdings aren't loading. Therefore, they say closed. But you can tell by the end date the ones that are actually closed. And so another thing here, we're not going to have the market value in our total since the holdings isn't loading. These are just, I guess what I should do, freeze this over here. There we go. So we'll freeze that. But here's the data, like I said, for all the IVs that have loaded so far and those dates if you'd like to see them. I think I usually do this the other way, but a portrait, but oh well. Here we can see, let's see if let's rank this. Again, normally this overall has the market value in there. If we currently hold that in this portfolio, but we won't have that, so this will only be based off of the trades here. We can see 1 through 14 are all positive, and 15 through 23 are negative, but those negatives apparently overcome the positives. Let's just say, yeah, so it's counting all of those. I just wanted to make sure that our lines were there. Yep. So total trades here is showing negative $819,000. Some of our best ones were intracellular therapies. It was with 537,000 or 38,000. Trying to remember here. Oh, so this is based on, the percentage here is based on this price versus this. So this saying it's 65% of the amount. Of course, these are all going to equal a whole bunch. And then these are going to bring it down with these big negatives down here. But then we have NanoX Imaging with 429,000, Vertiv Holdings 310,000. So that's our top three there. Our bottom three are SMCI, iPoint, Biohaven, And then Root is about right there with it, along with Symbiotic. Well, heck, a lot of them. I mean, and we got C at 285,000 and Janix at 231. So that's the bad thing, right? Up here, your winners aren't great. I mean, these first few are, but the rest of these, they're not that great. But when we get down here, when it loses big, except for Clean Spark there. That's a small one. You could try to say Lyft is a small one, but look at those other ones. They're so big, those losses. And again, these are for all the trades and do not include market value. That's unfortunate because that can help get a better picture, right, if some of these would bring them up. But I apologize for, Google Finance and all that stuff not wanting to pull those trades over. But again, and then here's the dollar amounts if you'd like to see the actual dollar amounts for the total trades. And then all the short call trades, the nets. Then the next one with that same different color there is the premium, the synthetic, and the stock. And at the top, we have the total amount of all of them, and then we have the amount that it shows per per share for ULTY itself and how it affects it. So anyway, so I have that, and then I didn't mean to close that. And then the next thing was something that somebody asked me for last week. So then I did a follow-up video to the weekly video. Of course, it didn't look like this at the time. It looked similar. But I was going through this today, and I do have some color codes on this. And I sorted it by the stock, the ETF, because I assume that that's the way I would want it. If not, I could sort it a little different way. But if we go through here, so like those gray ones, those are hard, and this is the bad thing about doing it weekly like this, because it's really hard to tell. And but we can try this and see. I don't even know if the person that requested it saw the follow-up video, but here for Biohaven, it did close out, and it did cost $438,000 to close it out, and it cost us $3.40 for each one of the Biohaven shares. Let's make sure. Yeah. So it's going based off of what's right here on the spreadsheet. So it's taken the total dollar amount and the number of contracts for Biohaven itself. So this isn't based on, how it affects necessarily the share price for ULTY like some of these other ones do. This is just looking here. But the thing is, here we're not seeing the open contracts, which is why these are grayed out. And you'll see several of those like this because those were in previous weeks. And it was asked to just see the trades, go through what happened for the week. So, but anyway, so that's why that's gray. And then we have the green ones here. Those green ones are, they, opened up the position for the week. They received that premium for selling that short call, and then they expired worthless. So they didn't have to pay to close them out. So you can see there on Clean Spark, that first one, I guess I need to freeze some panes here. Row. We don't need to do a column. But anyway, you can see that they've received 62 cents a share for those and bringing in 88,000. And then you can see they also bought some synthetics here. This is a combination of the call and put in here together for that same option date and strike price. Again, they opened these this week, so yeah, it costs them money to do that, but they'll close them out on a different week. And that's going to be all those white ones there. I'm not sure why I have those are short calls. So not necessarily all the white ones. That's the only, actually, I think that's the only fully white line. No, there's one more down here. I'm like, did I miss something? No, we have one other one, and that's, I guess we didn't have many that just bought in synthetic positions this week. All right. And then we have the short call here for coin. And as we already talked about this one, they bought in and expired worthless. So they got $2.55 a share, or 32,000 there for their contracts, for their short calls. And then Carvana, now this one's red because they did, you know, they did the sold the short call for the premium, and then they had to buy it back, and it cost $6.62. So this is the total amount they received. So this is the net, right? What they received in premium and what they paid to close it here on this one line. So that's quite a bit of money that it cost here, 278,000 or $6.62 a share there. And then we have synthetics here that they sold that helped cover that, well, that did cover that dollar amount to close that and pay for them. So they got 289,000. So they got 11,000 extra off of that. But these are grayed out again because the contracts for these were opened in a different week. In phase here expired worthless, and they made $100,000 there for in phase. And then we go into iPoint. So, we've talked about this one, and some of these things are adjusted because of how the trades and stuff are messed up. So just know these amounts aren't going to be 100% correct. But that first line there, so they actually closed this out. It's a short call, and they had just opened it, and they've already closed it, and it didn't expire till May 17th. But in the end, they made $3,000 off of it. But then we look at their synthetic positions, and you can see at least the one that they opened this week for the 256 contracts, they only lost about $8,000. But then we had the ones they had to close out from a previous week that cost them $294,000 to close. So that was a lot of loss there. I'm not sure. I don't have the stock price on here, so I can't remember what happened there. There we go. Maybe we can zoom in just a little bit more for some of you. And then we have GigaCloud Technology here. So this is a short call. Okay, so those yellows is because they're still open. I guess I should have made the whole line yellow. But GigaCloud Technology here, they brought in premium for 769 contracts for 195,000. So these are still open at this time and don't expire for about 3 weeks. Then we have Intracellular Therapy here. The short call, they ended up having to pay to close this out, but they still were in the positive overall for this short call. $9,000 is not much, but still $9,000. But they ended up closing out the synthetics that went with these, and they brought in $432,000 for those. And then we have Janix here with the short call. Again, they paid to close these out. And as you can see, these didn't expire for 3 weeks. But they decided to go ahead and close them. So they closed this out, made $5,900. And then they went ahead and closed out the synthetic positions where they brought in $136,000. Then we have Lyft here that expired worthless on Friday. So they made $36,000 in premium there. Then we have Mind Medicine here. This short call does not expire until, for 3 weeks. But they brought in $154,000 in premium. And then, of course, they have this synthetic 174 contracts there costing $6,500. MicroStrategy here brought in $40,000 premium and then expired worthless. They have NanoX Imaging. So So this one didn't expire again until May 17th, but they went ahead and closed it out, bringing in $30,000 for it. So they opened and closed this one at the same week. So still a profit there. And then for the synthetic here, they ended up closing out all of their well, not all of them, but at least 6,500 in contracts there. Of course, we don't have the open contracts here because that wasn't during this week, but that's almost $400,000 there. Then we go Root. This was another one we had a problem with the trades this week and stuff, so we had to I had to just go in and change some shares to try to make things match and work and put a price in there that may or may not be accurate because I have to use the market value on the previous day's price when the shares disappeared from the holdings with no trades. But Root here shows that they had opened and closed some contracts there on that short call, and it ended up costing about $179,000, roughly again. And then they had synthetic. They had 80 contracts there. They brought in 38,000 roughly, and then they had two more synthetics that weren't open during this period but were closed, and they lost a lot of money on those. So we're looking at about, I don't know, $230,000 there. And then we look at Sunrun here. They brought in premium of $33,000 and expired worthless. And C, we had a short call here. They did have to pay to close it out, and overall it was a negative $18,000 for that short call. And they ended up rolling those to next week. So they brought in premium for that for $64,000. So they're going to try it again, but of course has a new strike price there, $64. Then we have SMCI short call that they opened and closed this week, and it cost $254,000 to open and close those 37 contracts. Then we have a synthetic position right below that. I guess I can move this up. They opened 8 and closed 8. They ended up bringing in $52,000 for that. And then they had synthetic contracts that were open in a different week. They closed this week, costing $416,000. Symbiotic here brought in premium of $20,000, and it expired worthless on Friday. Transmedics, they opened and closed a short call this week. Oh, I was like, why isn't it red? Well, they didn't have to. This one expired, didn't expire for 3 weeks, but they closed it out and it cost $67,000. And then they ended up closing out the synthetics that they had here. 728,000 or 728 that were open in a different week, but closing them out, they brought 244,000 in. Then we have Viking Therapeutics here. They did end up having to close out the pay to close out the short call, but they still made money in the end. $4,600. And then they have another short call here that doesn't expire until next Friday. So they rolled that one to next Friday, and they brought in premium of $73,000. Then we have Vertiv Holdings here, short call that they opened and closed in the same week, but it cost them $304,000. And then they closed out the synthetics to help cover that. That were open in a different week, and they brought in $615,000 for that. Then we have Wayfair and Wolfspeed here that brought in premium for their trades this week, and then they did not have to pay to close them out, so they did expire worthless. Whew. So that was a lot. So let me know if this is something that you are wanting to see like this every week. I'll do it. You just have to let me know if you want this. if y'all don't tell me that y'all want to do this, then I won't do it anymore. I just know it was asked last week, so I thought I would do it. But it's, y'all tell me what you want, and we'll go from there. And I think that was it. Of course, now the market value data is over here. So if we just re-rank this real quick, we can see it's negative 6 cents overall when we add in the market value here with that. It's still, it does bring us up a little bit up here because we can see we have some positives here on these market values. So that does make these look better than before. I will say that, but most of it cancels each other out because we're at negative 6 cents or negative 250,000, but it does look better. But anyway, that is it for this week. Again, let me know if you want this, and if you don't let me know, then I will not do it next week. But anyway, that will be it for today. And again, if y'all want to see other things or you don't want to see certain things, y'all let me know, and I'll make adjustments. But anyway, I will talk with y'all later and hope y'all have a great week. Bye.